Welcome back to Mike's Yoga channel and welcome to this yoga for hockey players where we will be focusing on the hip and the ankle mobility. When you're ready, roll your mat, grab some water, and let's get started. Okay everyone, so let's start by coming into a seated position and extend the legs out long in front of you. We're going to start by warming up the ankles here. So I grew up playing hockey at a very early age and I've played hockey most of my life. And my ankles today are pretty gnarly. When I walk around you can just hear them crack and pop, and I'm sure some of you guys can relate. So today we will be focusing on the hips and the ankles, but just starting with the ankles here, let's start with our right leg or right foot and just pretend you're stepping on the gas pedal and then slowly releasing off. So just stepping down, stepping off, and just going back and forth like this. And then when you're ready, let's start to do some ankle circles, moving in one direction. And then going the other way. And we can rest this right ankle. Great job, you guys. Let's just take it over to the left ankle now. So again, pretend you're stepping on that clutch and then releasing off that clutch. Just going back and forth. Maybe you notice how this one might feel a little bit different than the right. So I know for me, my right is generally a lot more tight, and that's where I get a lot more pain compared to my left, but just notice how this one might be a little bit different. And then when you're ready, let's do some ankle circles. And then changing it up, going the other way. And relax that left ankle. Awesome job, you guys. Now we're going to move into the hips. So let's come into a deer pose, otherwise commonly referred to as a 90-90 stretch in the bodybuilding community. So essentially what we're doing is we're creating two 90-degree angles in the legs. So let's start with our right leg out in front of us, keeping this right knee in line with this right hip. 90-degree angle in the leg, right foot is flexed, and bring the left leg behind you, so left knee is in line with the left hip. 90-degree angle in the leg, left foot is flexed as well. Hands gonna just rest by your side, sit up nice and tall. Breathing into those hips here. And on your next exhale, let's slowly, mindfully release, and we'll just take it over to the other side. So let's bring that left leg in front of us, right leg behind you. So let's keep this left knee in line with this left hip. 90-degree angle in the left leg, left foot is flexed. Bringing that right leg behind you, 90-degree angle, right foot is flexed. Again, hands can just rest by your sides. exhale, mindfully release. From here, we'll come into an extended child's pose, so take your time getting there. And then once we do get here, let's bring our knees as wide as your mats and let the big toes touch behind you. And then from here, let's walk the hands out long in front of you, letting the forehead rest in the mats. In this pose, we're breathing into the hips as well as the back body, the shoulders. And exhale, let's shift it forward. We'll come into a high cobra, so stacking the hands right underneath the shoulders, extending the legs along behind you and just pushing yourself up. Keeping your core slightly engaged here, just opening up the heart, opening up the chest. Feel free to roll your shoulders back, open up even more. And on your next exhale, let's curl the toes. Shift the hips up and we'll come into a downward facing dog. So in this down dog, let's keep our fingers spread wide. Hands are actively pushing into the mat. And feel free to pedal out your feet here. Really breathing into the back of the legs as well as those ankles. And now from here on your next inhale, let's lift that right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, bend the right knee, step the right foot up in between the hands, lower the left knee down, left shoelaces down, and then from here on your next inhale, let's rise up, coming into a low lunge. So in this low lunge, let's keep this right knee over the right ankle, and let's keep these hips in one line. So for some of us, we may have to draw this right hip back just a little bit, and bring this left hip forward, core is slightly engaged. As always, make sure to breathe. Awesome stretch for the hip flexors here. And on your next exhale, let's bring the hands down to the mat and step it back to downward facing dog. When you're ready, let's take it over to the other side. So on your next inhale, lift that left leg up towards the sky. Exhale, bend the left knee. Step the left foot up in between the hands. Lower the right knee down, right shoelaces down. Inhale, rise up. So again, on this side, let's keep this left knee over the left ankle, and let's keep these hips in one line. So for some of us, we may have to draw this left hip back and bring that right hip forward, core engaged. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back to downward facing dog. Now from here, let's lower the knees down, keeping the knees together, curling the toes, sitting back on your heels, coming into a toe stand here. So another awesome stretch for the feet and the ankles. If this is just too intense for you, you can always uncurl the feet and sit back on your heels like this. Wherever you are, just let your hands rest in your lap. We'll be here for a few breaths. Exhale, mindfully release. From here, let's make our way onto our backs. And then once we get to our backs, let's hug our knees into our chest, wrap your arms around your legs, give yourselves a nice big hug. Feel free to rock side to side, massaging the spine. And now from here we'll come into a reclined pigeon pose. So let's bring both of the soles of the feet down to the mat, and we'll start with our right leg. So let's step this right foot over our left leg, so we're creating this figure four formation. And now from here let's lift this left leg up off the mat, keeping that left calf parallel with the floor, keeping both feet flexed. And now from here you can thread your arms through, grabbing a hold of that left hamstring. You should definitely feel this in the right hip. Now, option to stay here, or if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can keep the legs exactly where they are. Just slowly, mindfully bring the sole of the right foot down to the mat, and keep this right knee pointing up towards the sky. Now, if you're in this position that's very mindfully, come back to center and release, and we'll take it over to the other side. So let's step this left foot over the right leg, creating this figure four formation. Now from here, let's lift this right leg up off the mat, keeping the right calf parallel with the ground, keeping both feet flexed. And now from here, you can thread your arms through, grabbing a hold of that right hamstring. Definitely feel this in the left hip. And again, maybe notice how this side might be a little bit different. I know for me, this left hip is a lot more tight today. So again, option to stay here, or if you want to go deeper, you can keep the legs exactly where they are. Just bring the sole of the left foot down into the mat, and keeping this left leg up, pointing up towards the sky. And if you're in this position, let's exhale, come back to center. From here, mindfully release. Awesome job, you guys. Now from here, we'll come into a bridge pose. So bring the soles of the feet down into the mat. And from here on your next inhale, let's lift the hips up towards the sky. Shimmy the shoulders underneath you, clasping the hands together. And in this pose, really try to make sure you keep your legs nice and straight. If you have a block, you're welcome to place a block in between your knees, or you can just imagine a block in between your knees. So you don't want your knees coming out wide. You want to keep them nice and straight. And now from here on your next inhale, let's bring the hands up towards the sky. Come up onto the tiptoes. Exhale, slowly lower the spine back to the mat. And from here, we'll take a constructive rest. So let's bring the feet as wide as your mat, letting the knees knock in towards each other. You can have one hand on your belly, the other one on your heart. And on your next exhale, let's release. From here, we'll come into a reclined butterfly. So let's bring the soles of the feet together, letting the knees open up wide, letting the hips open up naturally. Again, you can have one hand on your belly, the other one on your heart, or you can just let your hands rest down by your sides. I encourage you to close your eyes here as well. One of my favorite hip openers. to stay here for as long as you like, or if you're ready to go, let's mindfully rock up, coming into a seated position of your choice. And that wraps up our practice today. So if you are a hockey player who is looking to increase the mobility as well as the flexibility in the hips and the ankles, I encourage you to come back to this video at least on a daily basis. In the morning or before bed is a great time. And if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. From here, let's bring our hands up to our third eye. The light me honors the light, and all of you, thank you so much. Namaste.